What's going on, everyone? So the other day, we saw the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Utah Jazz pull off a three-team trade in which you saw Kevin Love end up going to the Utah Jazz. And per reports, the Utah Jazz are expected to buy out Kevin Love. And I wouldn't hate the idea of bringing Kevin Love to the San Antonio Spurs. Not so much as a guy that's playing a key role or being this huge kind of impact player or starter or anything like that, but a couple things that the Spurs could use is, again, interior size, guys that can slot in at the 4, guys that can slot in at the 5. Kevin Love kind of gives you that versatility, right? A 6'10 guy, that could slot in at either the 4 or the 5, stretch the floor, knock down the 3 ball, still rebound, right? Just more than anything, though, to me, be a veteran presence out there on the basketball court for a team like the San Antonio Spurs. You're talking about a young team that has a ton of upside and potential, a bunch of young guys that could use somebody that could be that voice and that presence. You saw how impactful a guy like Chris Paul is. Harrison Barnes is a guy that I regularly talk about, how I want to see the Spurs keep around kind of long term if possible. And I think Kevin Love would be a guy that, again, you're signing him to a vet minimum. You're bringing him in to kind of be a mentor to these young guys. He's a championship winner, right? He brings championship DNA. People forget how good Kevin Love was. Minnesota Kevin Love. He took a huge sacrifice, in his Cleveland Cavaliers championship run. I mean, this guy was an automatic just 20-10 guy, one of the best, kind of power forward center types, but more so he played the power forward. He was a guy that he was a lock for 20 points, 10 rebounds minimum. Like that was like a normal night, right? Like he had multiple nights where he's grabbing, 15, 20 boards. Like the guy was just a do-everything type of player out there. Defensively, he was always kind of a bit of a question mark. But again, to me, I'd be looking at him more of just a rotation guy coming off the bench, providing, 10 to 15 minutes a night, could give you some real production, give you some real value. You look at last season, he averaged 5 points and 4 rebounds. He's not what he was even, couple years ago, right? So again, he's not a guy I'd want to bring in and have play 20, 30 minutes on a given night. He's a guy that more I'd be looking at for the balance of mentorship but still can give you production, right? You could just go get a veteran guy that just rides the bench, but why not get somebody that actually could give you some production out there on the basketball court when he is out there in a pitch? A guy gets the night off. It's like, okay, well, we got a guy in Kevin Love. Because one of the things I talk about, right? Like, I think with the Spurs team, you either need to go one or two ways to kind of fill out the rest of your roster. I think either A, you go the youthful route and you try to go get a Amani Bates, like I talked about, just like a 6'8", 6'9", versatile wing that has plenty of growth, upside, and potential and can slot in as part of your young core, right? Hopefully you hit on somebody like that. That could be an option. Or you go kind of the veteran route to bring in the guys because you already have a young core. You already have, 8 guys that are going to be in your rotation that are all, 23 or younger, right? That you want to kind of have a locker room presence. You want to have somebody like a Kevin Love can help guys. I mean, even a guy like a Jeremy Sohan, right? His version. Now he's, obviously the defensive side of things, but you don't think Kevin Love can kind of help him, maybe as a kind of big, power forward guy stretching the floor, positioning, things like that. Like, again, just bringing in a guy that has the potential to really kind of mentor and shape some of these young players in a positive direction. It's what you want, right? Again, you could go the youthful route, bring in a couple young guys, right? Or you could go and bring in a guy like a Kevin Love on a vet minimum deal that's just adding some value to your roster in ways even beyond the on-court production. Whatever he gives you on the court is what he gives you on the court. Right? Now, the thing is Kevin Love, would he want to go to a situation like that, or would he want to go to a title contender? Right? That's the kind of question. But also, how many teams are lining up to land Kevin Love? Probably not very many. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be some, but there's probably, he's probably kind of last on the list for a lot of these teams. It's kind of like, hey, we need to fill a roster spot, bring in Kevin Love, and he's a guy that can play in a pinch or something like that. Where I think with the Spurs, again, you offer him the mentor role, you offer him all stuff, but you could offer him an opportunity to play, right? Where, again, some of these contenders, he's probably going there and he's probably not getting any run. He's probably not going to get any opportunity on the basketball court. It's so very limited. Again, I'm not saying you promise him, like, hey, you're going to start, like with the Chris Paul thing, but you can, hey, there's going to be minutes for you. right? We want you to actually give us production. Yes, our main, priority is for you to help mentor and grow these young players, the next wave and next generation, to precede you. But, you're also going to get opportunities out there on the basketball court to display your talent still and whatnot, and if something happens and a veteran team or a championship contender needs you or wants you, then hey, we'll figure it out, right? But for right now, come here, help us, get some opportunities, get some play time, help be a mentor to these young guys. And worst thing he says is no. Right? I don't hate the idea of bringing in a guy like a Kevin Love, these veteran players that can come in and just again bring up the upside and potential. But again, he's a guy that can play still, right? Again, he's not what he was couple seasons ago even, but like I said, last year averaged 5.3 points, 4.1 rebounds, and assists. Well, let's get into like the details with it, right? Last year for Miami in 23 games, played 11 minutes per game, took 5 field goal attempts. He had a rough shooting like field goal percentage season. He did shoot pretty good from 3-point range. He shot 35.7% overall from the field on 5 attempts. 3 of those 5 attempts, he shot 36% from 3-point range. It was the 2-point attempts in which he shot 35.4%. Sorry. EFG of 46.1%. Free throw shooting was actually the worst of his career at 70%. It was actually 69.6% on just 1 attempt. He is a career 83% guy. Grabbed 4 rebounds, including an offensive rebound, 1 assist, a steal, half a block, and 5.3 points per game. If you look at his per 36 numbers, per 36 doesn't tell you everything, but kind of gives you an idea of like what would he have produced if he was a full-time starter. He would have been just under 18 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.2 steals, and a block per game. He's a guy that'd be great, right, for a young team. Again, he was inefficient last year shooting the basketball, but this is a guy that's a career 37% 3-point shooter. But like I said, you're not so much worried. Like the Spurs aren't looking to win an NBA championship this year. The Spurs are looking to kind of grow, develop, and mentor some of the young guys, right? Like also there's not the pressure and all. Like there's different situation, different environment. And so to me, I look at, bringing in a Kevin Love, letting him kind of be a mentor guy that's playing spot minutes here and there. Like I said, give him 10 minutes a night. It's not going to kill you. Right? And keep him engaged, keep him invested, keep him motivated to want to be, to help the building blocks for this organization. I think it's something that the Spurs should at least inquire about. My worst thing that happens is, it just doesn't make sense, or, somebody else comes along, whatever. But I don't hate the idea of bringing him in off of a buyout for a vet minimum contract. I don't think it hurts. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.